Please welcome AJC Chief Executive Officer, David Harris.
Earlier this morning, Edwin Schuker spoke very powerfully in the faces of the diaspora to us about the journey from Iraq, Babylonia, forward. And he gave us a mission. It's not a new mission, but he reminded us of an ancient mission. Said he to us, to AJC, Lech Lecha. Said he, from this stage, AJC, go forward. And we will. And I thank him. I want to reflect for just a moment or two on the last 72 hours by noting not only was history made from this stage, the community of conscience, the Black Jewish Caucus, Luis Almagro's embrace of the working definition of anti-Semitism for the OAS, but we also set a record. In our 113-year history at AJC, we set a record. For the first time ever, we could legitimately claim that we had 5% of an entire Jewish community on the stage. We've had big delegations from the US and other countries, but not only did we have 5% of the Jewish community of Myanmar here, but we also got a silver medalist. We had 2.5% of the entire Jewish community of Bahrain on this stage. I hope one day we'll have 5% of the American Jewish community here with us as well. And as a fallback position, we can start with 2.5%. This has been a powerfully moving couple of days, certainly for me, I hope for all of you. As we said from the outset, our goal this year was something different. Last year, of course, we broke the mold with Jerusalem. This year, we were especially eager to, as we've said, capture the zeitgeist. What's on people's minds? So we were less concerned about simply getting names for the sake of names or titles for the sake of titles and trying to wow you. We wanted to get inside our own confused, conflicted heads as Jews, as Americans, as democratic with a lowercase d citizens of the United States and other countries, and kind of grapple with these very complicated issues and often conflicted feelings. I hope we've succeeded. Have we? But the real test, I think, for any global forum is not just to recount the numbers, nearly 2,500 participants, more than 50 countries, 39 dinners with ambassadors or deputy ambassadors last night, more than 120 meetings this afternoon with members of Congress, both American congressmen and British members of parliament on the stage, and so much more. The real test of the global forum, I think, actually begins now. What do we do with all the information? Put aside the numbers. What's changed within us? Do we feel any differently? I do. I think, for example, of the 39-year-old Frenchman on the stage who devoted a good chunk of his life, first of all, to serving in the IDF as a French citizen, and then coming back and literally defending the security of Jews in France, devoting his life and risking his life for that. I feel differently. I feel differently because those three eminent figures battling anti-Semitism from the United States, from the EU, and from the UK need our help. I feel differently because I know that Felix Klein is a friend, the Commissioner of Jewish Life in Germany, but I hope, like you, I am outraged that in contemporary Germany, Jews are warned that they may be at risk if they wear a kippah. To jump ahead for a moment, we're going to Berlin next year, and I'll return to the theme. But I want and hope that on Shabbat evening in Berlin, we will all wear a kippah, and we will all and whether we are Jewish or not, observant or not, synagogue going or not, we will stand by those of us who wear a kippah regularly, and we will walk through the streets of Berlin together to affirm our pride and to show there is no fear. We will not be denied. We will not be denied our right to affirm our identity, and I feel a commitment to the students at NYU and to the students of the French Union of Jewish Students and those others who've been honored before and those who are unheralded and may never be honored. Those students must never stand alone. Those students are our children. Those students are our grandchildren. Those students are our nieces and nephews. They are today on the front lines in an effort that seeks to intimidate, bully, and silence those Jewish students for being Jewish and affirming their connection to Israel. And if AJC doesn't act tomorrow and the day after, we are failing and flagging in our responsibility to them and to our collective future. And just a couple of weeks ago, when we flew to Israel for the interview with the Prime Minister, we came on the tail end of 690 rockets and missiles that had been fired from Gaza, including to the hospital we visited in Ashkelon, and the missile hit the oncology unit. By the way, the same hospital that receives victims from Gaza who cannot get medical help in Gaza because too much of the hospital space is occupied by Hamas headquarters, and who come to Israel. And even those hospitals are not off limits. I feel even more a responsibility on behalf of AJC to those in Israel for whom, tragically, this has become a normalized way of life. It cannot be their struggle alone. It's our collective struggle. Lech lecha. And so I want to simply ask you, before you leave, to think about behavioral change. It begins this afternoon. We're all going to the Hill, I hope. We need all of you. We need to be there today. You heard Hakeem Jeffries and Ted Cruz and Rob Portman say we also need to be there tomorrow and the day after. They need us and we need them. We need to be at the Hill, and we need to be as smart and savvy and sophisticated as we can in conveying our messages. Number two, we need to complete the challenge grant, please. We need to exceed the challenge grant, please. We only have $45,000 to go to meet that wonderful $500,000 challenge grant. But let's not nickel and dime. This organization is fighting not just for our future, but our collective future, your future, and we can't do it without adequate resources. You heard John Mann say what he said about AJC. I can go through all of the validations and endorsements. You want to ensure your family's future. I get that. So do I. But your family's future depends on our future, just as our future depends on your family's future. I'm asking you at this moment in time, which is defining for history, Jewish history, and for us as Jews, to please consider additional gifts to AJC, to take advantage of the Challenge Grant and to go well beyond it, to allow us to continue to build the global architecture, the programming, to seize the new opportunities, the Black Jewish Caucus, the community of conscience. I can go down a longer list. We can't do it on fumes alone. We turn to you again as our most dedicated supporters.